All together, सभी साथ में ओ मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुणध्वज मंगलम पुण्डरीकाक्षाय मंगलाय तनु हरि ओ सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विना वधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै All together, सभी साथ में ओ शांति 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 Ganesh Om Gao Ganesh Om. Everyone can join. Ganesh Om Ganesh Om Ganesh Om Gao Ganesh Om. One more time. Ganesh Om Ganesh Om Ganesh Om Gao Ganesh सिद्धिविनायक गणेश मंगलमूर्ति गणेश लंबोदर है गणेश विश्वाधर है गणेश 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 last time गणेश 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 शांति 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 Welcome to Satsang. Such a beautiful time to be together as we have our sunset on the waters of Mother Ganga. This sacred time between the day and the evening. To take a moment together and to drop into truth. Drop into that eternal truth. That truth which brings the real light, the light of joy, the light of understanding, the light of peace, the light of living in oneness with that pure consciousness. Such a beautiful opportunity to be together with you all. Of course, it's nicer when we can be together in person, when you can all be with us here physically on the banks of Mother Ganga. But until then, we have this beautiful opportunity to remember that we are together. Remember that oneness. Remember that divine connection. And realize that in spirit, you are here together with us on the banks of Mother Ganga. So the first question tonight says, how do you know when you should continue holding on or when it's time to let go? Depends what you're holding on to. There's some things we never let go of. Never let go of love. Whether the one you love loves you back or not. Never let go of love. Love is beautiful. Love fills us and connects us to life. Love isn't about, I love you, so you should love me back. Love is not a bargain. If you don't start loving me within 30 days, I will stop loving you. If you misbehave, I will stop loving you. If you don't do what I want, when I want, how I want it, I won't love you. That's bargaining. That's contract. That's not love. If you've got love, if you really love, hold on to it. Now, holding on, of course, doesn't mean suffocate it. But it means never let it go. Because love itself, the energy of love, the experience of love, regardless of what the one we love says or does or feels, the experience of loving, the experience of being love, connects us with our truest and highest nature. So never, never let go of love. Frustrations, grudges, expectations, let go of them immediately. Nothing worth holding on. They are recipes for disaster. So it depends what it is. Basically, the rule of thumb is, if it is enriching you, fulfilling you, helping you to expand, hold on to it. If it's not, if it's causing you to be suffocated, if it's causing you to contract, if it's pulling you away from truth, let it go. Especially if it's also not bringing you any joy. There's plenty of things that may not necessarily be eternal, but at least bring us joy in the moment. No problem. But the truth is, we know. Our own internal self knows when we find ourselves holding on to things that we shouldn't be holding on to, some grudge, some pain, some false identity, some ego. There's a part of us that knows. We call that our higher self, or the divine voice, or truth. Puja Swamiji calls it our internal GPS. It knows. So allow it to tell you. When you're quiet, when you close your eyes and meditate, you know. That which is keeping you from being the truth of who you are, that's keeping you from living your highest truth, let it go. any false illusion, any false identity, any ego, any grudge, any unfulfilled expectation that is keeping you stuck. Let it go. And anything that is bringing you towards your freedom, hold on. Even if it's difficult, even if it's challenging. If you were dangling from a mountain cliff, holding on to a branch or a rope or whatever you had, a rock, it wouldn't be easy. But you'd hold on because you would know if I didn't hold on, I would die. So that which we hold on to doesn't necessarily mean that which is easy. Sometimes holding on to truth, holding on to our deepest truth, isn't easy. Sometimes holding on to that awareness, that knowing that we are supposed to be this instrument, this tool in God's hands, and not a slave to our ego or a slave to what the neighbors think or a slave to what some cultural agenda has told us. Sometimes that's very difficult. So don't let easy or difficult be what you judge it by. Don't let fun or not fun be how you decide. Decide on the basis of truth and untruth, expansion and contraction, freedom and bondage. Not freedom that license to decadence, not freedom that what I want, whenever I want, however I want. Not freedom that is an ignoring of our duty or our responsibility. Not that freedom. But the ultimate freedom that enables me to be free inside. Free of the games of the mind. Free of the games of the ego. If it's helping you with that, if it's bringing you closer to that, hold on. If it's not, let it go.
There's a question that came in that says, there's something I know in my heart that I need to do, but others keep telling me it's in my head, and that God is nowhere in my head. Why do people have such a hard time letting me walk the path I know I'm supposed to go down?
Beautiful. So, there seems to actually be two parts here. The first is the head or heart, where God lives. The other is the part of other people's approval, other people's permission. So first of all, God is everywhere. God is in your head just as much as God is in your heart, just as much as God is in your toe, just as much as God is in your eye, in every cell of your being, in every atom, of every molecule, of every cell of your being. God is in the space between the whirling electrons of every atom, of every molecule, of every cell. So there is nowhere that God isn't. There is no rule that says God doesn't live in your mind. God is everywhere. The question becomes about that inner knowing, that voice. Now, of course, the voice of my brain, my mind, even my ego, and also the voice of my heart, they both and all play within me. I hear them all with my inner ear. It's not that they are actually on loudspeakers blaring at me from buildings. It's not that they're actually on a CD player playing in my room. They all are inside. So on the one hand, they're all inner voices. But what we do know is that the voice of the heart, and by that, I don't mean the voice of emotions. When we speak of the heart, it's that inner sense of knowing, where the brain figures things out. The heart knows. But that's not the emotional, feeling heart, because that keeps changing. We all know that making decisions in the throes of an emotion is not usually a decision that we're going to be happy with. No one would say, oh yeah, listen to your heart, it's angry now, go with whatever it says. Or listen to your heart, it's feeling very impulsive now, listen to it. It's in the throes of passion, listen to it. Those are temporary emotional states that actually exist much more in the brain than actually in the heart. When we speak about listening to the heart, it means that inner sense of knowing. That sense that when we get very quiet, when the voice of the ego, the voice of fear, the voice of what our culture says is right or wrong, what good girls do or don't do, or good boys do or don't do, or real men do or don't do, that when we get quiet from all that, and then we listen to the voice that seems to flow as though it were flowing on a river like Mother Ganga. It's not a shrieky voice. It's not a voice that's in a state of frustration or panic. But it flows. It flows within as an inner knowing. That's the voice of the heart. And it leads us into that which, again, as I was saying before, not always fun, not always easy, but that which is our truth. The dilemma, of course, is that you frequently have the ego also shouting inside. And the ego's got its own agenda. What about me? What's in it for me? This isn't how I wanted it. We've also got voice of fear. But what if I fail? But what's going to happen to me later on? This leap is not safe. But the heart withstands. And the heart knows. The heart knows that divine is speaking through me, that I am a tool, I'm an instrument. As a flower, as a tree, as a river, as a mountain. Whatever particular embodiment of creation I may be, the divine is flowing through me. And then other people, well, yeah, other people have a lot of agendas for us. Especially they have agendas that we make the same decisions they've made. Oh, you don't want to get married? Well, what do you mean you don't want to get married and have a family? Of course you should get married and have a family. That's what everybody does. What do you mean you don't want to have a normal job? Who will take care of you? How will you take care of yourself? What will we tell the neighbors? What will we tell our friends you do when they ask? What do you mean you want to be an artist? Artists don't make any money. Have a real job. So people have agendas for us that they'll always tell you it's for you. But the truth is, in most cases, especially their vehemence with which they try to convince you to do what they want you to do, is because it justifies the choice they made. They've lived this life that everyone lives, so of course you should live that. What do you mean you want to be an artist or a musician or a monk or renunciant? What do you mean you don't want to get married and have kids? What do you mean this? The very possibility that there are other options is something that scares a lot of people because most people don't think about it. Most people just kind of do exactly what their parents did, what everybody around them does. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. It's absolutely the right choice for many, 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 many people. But it's not the right choice for everyone. But so many people make that choice without even actually thinking about it. That when you think about it, and especially if you decide that isn't what your heart wants to do, every member of your family is an engineer. What do you mean you want to be something else? What do you mean you want to be a teacher? Be an engineer. Teachers don't make any money. We're all engineers. Every time you make a choice, it's a mirror in people's face about the choices they made or didn't make. About the freedom with which they did or didn't make their own choices. And so a lot of people will tell you, don't make those decisions because it's too scary for them. On the one hand, they do love you, and so it's too scary for them to think, oh my God, what will happen if it doesn't work out? But it's also too scary for them if it does work out for you. Because then, oh my God, maybe they could have made another choice. Maybe they did actually have the possibility to step into freedom that they didn't choose. It's important, though, especially with people who love you, to recognize that they're not out to get you. They're not out to be your jailers. They're not out to ruin your life. Listen to them. Give them at least the benefit of listening. And listen with an open mind. Listen with the awareness that these are people who love me. And you'll know in your heart whether it resonates. And if it does, fine. And if it doesn't, fine. But you may have to draw upon a lot of inner courage to be able to say to them, in the same way that I said to my parents almost 25 years ago, I love you, I respect you, I know that the decisions you made for your life are right for you, but they're not the right decisions for me. And if I want to end up at a different destination, I have to get on a different train. If I get on the same train you got on, I'm going to end up at the same place you ended up. And again, with all of the respect and all of the love and all of the awareness that it's exactly right for you, I'm aware that it's not right for me. And if you have that courage, and you have that love in your heart, and it's not an act of rebellion, but it's an act of just courage in your truth. The truth is a magnet. It'll slowly, slowly, slowly bring them towards you.
So, Sadhviji, today is World Population Day. And so, if you can talk about population and population control and why it's important, especially in terms of utilizing our natural resources, that would be wonderful. And some of the work that maybe Jiwa is doing for
Wonderful. World Population Day. So there's two aspects to think about with regard to population. We have, number one, the population we currently have means the people who exist on this planet. What can we do to take care of them, to protect them, to ensure that their lives are as safe, as healthy, as happy as possible? That's our first duty, is to the actual population that is here, to ensure that they have access to food, to water, to clean air, to clean soil, to primary health care, education, human rights. And of course, not all of us, by any means, not any of us, can ensure that for everyone. But at least when we're thinking about population, our first aspect is, how do we take care of the population we have? How do we live simply so that others may simply live? How do we make choices about what we eat, what we wear, what we buy, how we live, to ensure that we are not gobbling up the planet's resources and ensuring that our sisters and brothers around the world don't have? So, for example, we become vegetarian because we know that the meat industry, that animal agriculture, is the single greatest contributor to climate change and is one of the major causes of so many problems in the world, ranging from world hunger to water shortages, to land shortages, to climate change, to deforestation. But beyond that as well, every choice we make, everything we buy, everything we use, we become conscious. We buy organic. We buy fair trade. We treat the people in our lives with respect, with love. We do whatever we can in whatever capacity we have. Every one of us has the ability to make decisions about what we eat, about what we buy, about how we vote, about how we spend our free time. We've got a lot of choices. How do we use those? Are we using them to help take care of the population on this planet? And on World Population Day, it seems like a better day than any to commit ourselves to doing whatever we can in whatever capacity we have, to taking care of as much of the population as our means, our area of influence, of impact have. But also, when we think about population, that's the future, that's population growth. And one of the things that we know is that the resources of this planet are stretched. We absolutely have food shortages. We have water shortages. They're just going to get more dire. We have land shortages. How can we, as conscious beings, make choices that are in alignment with ensuring that the future population also has access? And one of those ways, of course, is ensuring that we don't produce too much of a population. Of ensuring that, we only bring as many children into this world as the resources on this planet can actually provide for. That we don't just recklessly procreate, but we responsibly procreate. We consciously procreate. That we actually make decisions, conscious decisions, about our family resources, as well as about the resources of our nation and the resources of the world. And that we allow procreation to be something that we do consciously as well. It's not just because we can make babies we should. Just because we can make lots and lots of them doesn't mean we need to make lots and lots of them. But we do it consciously. How many can we actually care for with the resources we have? The time, the energy, the money? How many can our earth sustain? Our existence as a human species on Mother Earth is very precarious at this moment. Not only due to COVID, but due to so much. And due in so many ways to our ways of living. So whether it's pandemics, whether it's superbugs, whether it's lack of water, whether it's climate change, we're under threat. Let us focus. Instead of just producing more and more people, let's focus also a little bit of time and energy on taking care of the ones we have. And it's a beautiful meditation also to think that my children are not only the ones who came out of my womb, or not only the ones who were born through my sperm or my eggs, but can I think of all the children on this planet as mine? And it doesn't mean don't have any from your sperm and eggs. By all means, sure, have them. But when you think about caring and serving them, don't limit the care and the service of children to only those who came out of your own womb. Allow your heart to expand, to feel that so many other children in this world are also yours and also could benefit so beautifully from your love, from your caring. Doesn't mean you have to take them all into your house or tuck them all in bed at night. There's so many ways to serve, to give, to help, to contribute to all of the children out there. So on this beautiful population day, let us pledge to take care of ours, take care of all of those that currently exist, and to only bring new ones in through consciousness, through clarity, through awareness, through purpose, such that even our population becomes an extension of our consciousness. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening, or a beautiful morning, or a beautiful day, wherever you are. And we'll see you on Monday, back here for our sacred sunset meditation on the banks of Ganga. The meditations are Mondays and Fridays, and this satsang on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And feel free to put your questions for our next satsang on Tuesday. Put your questions here online in the comments, and our beautiful Seva team will take them. And then we'll answer them on Tuesday or in the upcoming satsangs. So much love to you all.